European elites and a Toon Tonking. It's been a good week for Liverpool in the Champions League and the Premier League. This is the weekly show here at Reds Down Under. I'm Tom. I'm a Scouser living in Sydney. And this week I'll be joined by Wayne from the L-Files as we break down everything that happens with Liverpool Football Club this week. We'll be talking about the fixtures, we'll be looking at the transfer news, and we'll also be doing a little bit of trivia as well, as we like to do. Thanks so much to everyone who supported the podcast so far. It's been a bit of a journey since March, and things have changed so much, and I absolutely love it, and I love you for being with us. Enjoy the pod. Flo Wirtz, mate, he's absolutely gorgeous, but not in the way you're thinking. He's just beautiful. Like, hang his feet up in the Louvre, because this guy has absolutely got it. Well, apparently Liverpool are interested in Manchester City's Mark Gahey, so we'll see. We'll see if that one comes to fruition, won't we?
This is the Reds Down Under podcast, the best place to follow the Reds in Australia. Enjoy the show.
We are the Reds Down Under, and this is our podcast.
Righto, Wayne, mate. Liverpool beat Qarabag 6-0 in the Champions League. I said on the podcast last week that I thought it wouldn't be a walk in the park whatsoever, but Liverpool were fantastic, man.
What did you say? 2-0? I think I said 2-0. I think I said 4-0. I thought they were brilliant. But this is what we expect of Liverpool at home against a team from, with all due respect, a nation like Azerbaijan. It was a bit of a walk in the park, wasn't it? But no, they were good. It was nice to see, and a clean sheet. I was very, very happy. I think our XG, expected goals, for the stat heads out there, was 5.6. So it could have been, it could have been a lot more. Their keeper pulled off a few good saves. So, man, qualification, that was what was most important, and we did it in style. So bring on the last 16.
Huge game, because it was the sort of one game in the calendar when we got the fixtures. We were all like, right, well, there's 3 points. And there was a little bit of concern for me last week when I was looking at Qarabag and the amount of possession that they've been having in games. But Liverpool just absolutely dominated the midfield, mate. We played the 4-2-2-2 in Marseille, and it worked an absolute pearler. We tried it again against Bournemouth the next week, and it obviously never worked at all, did it? But we went back to the 4-2-3-1 at Anfield. And one thing that really struck me, mate, was how good Mo Salah was. And he's maybe not setting the world alight at the moment, but we're seeing glimpses of that excellent, not just attacker, but playmaker as well.
True. No, I agree. I think, and this is probably a conversation that could open up something else, but we won't necessarily go there. I think Mo's issues this season aren't necessarily that his legs have gone. I think there's a lot of distractions for him, not just distractions, a lot of, I guess, even personal things going on, I guess, with losing Jota. But I think also tactically we've set up differently this year. So he's become, I guess, more of that provider. But yeah, he was on it. And what a goal. What a way to break that drought. I think that's probably the longest he hasn't scored in living memory. I think it was November since he hadn't scored. But yeah, fantastic. Brilliant goal. Brilliant. And yeah, he was good. He looked electric. He looked more like his old self. And I want to see more of that from him, hopefully.
Well, he scored that free kick, didn't he? And it was funny because we actually scored an identical free kick against Bournemouth a couple of days earlier. And I've seen Mo Salah hit 100 free kicks in his time at Liverpool, and they often go over the bar. But to see Mo absolutely crack one in was great. I thought the midfield was really strong on the night and really dictated play. And I think that sometimes individually players can fade away in games, but I thought just the midfield remained a unit, as did the defence. And I thought they were really strong in it, and they didn't look threatened at all. One big concern for me, mate, was, and I put it in our group chat. Frimpong goes off injured, which is obviously a big concern for us. We don't have a first choice right back in the squad at the moment, both Bradley and Frimpong out, although Frimpong shouldn't be out for too long. Endo goes at right back, Gravenberg was at centre back, and we'll talk a little bit later about transfers. But that was a big worry for me. But I have to say, I thought Endo was excellent at right back.
That's what I was thinking too. So in saying that, then, I was surprised that the game yesterday morning against Newcastle, that he might not have started there. But I thought he was brilliant in that role. I would like to see Calvin Ramsey get a bit more of a run, personally, in that role. I think I know he's only played once for Offline. To be honest, I thought I'd completely forgotten he even existed. I know that sounds bad, but he was good in that League Cup game when we lost to Palace. But yeah, Endo was great. I hate seeing Dom play there because Dom is such a catalyst and, even a fulcrum of everything that we do that's really good this season, and he needs to be in midfield. So, but yeah, we're desperate, I guess, for, right back options at the moment. Here, apparently there's a right back at Real Madrid that could become our line. Let's not go there. No, Endo was great. Endo was really, really good. And, that's typical of him. He's a no-fuss kind of player. Very diligent, very professional, doesn't complain, very quiet. And when he comes on, he usually does his role and what he's asked of him. And, yeah, he was great. He was really good.
Yeah, there's a right back at Real Madrid at the moment, and I tell you what, if we got him on a free transfer, it would be amazing business for Liverpool, considering we got 10 million for him in the summer. McAllister, fantastic, got 2 goals on the night. He could have had a hat-trick, and he should have had a hat-trick, but he looked, I said recently on the podcast, he doesn't look happy and there was just a little bit of a glimmer in his eye, and he played well. He got his 2 goals as well, and he pops up with a header like he often does for a little man. He's not too bad, is he? Virgil van Dijk, another player who I give a bit of stick to after the Bournemouth game. I thought he was shocking against Bournemouth.
Yeah,
he's had a very good week this week, hasn't he? Himself, yes. with a couple of assists.
Tell me about it. Playing up front like a second striker, I'm thinking he's trying to reinvent himself.
Hey, look, whatever. You know what I mean? We've only got one number 9 at the minute, so.
No, on Macca, I felt like he said he's a quality player, and I know a lot of people have been saying, "Oh, look, maybe we should look at offloading him." I wouldn't. He's a World Cup winner. He's young still. He's not that old, and I think players do go through dips. He did hint at something recently in the press about just something personal going on in his life. That Slot, he went to Slot and Slot helped him. So maybe there's more there than what we really know what's going on. So players are human after all, and they do go through dips. But he is a quality player, and when he ticks, we play a lot better. And he's got this knack of just scoring headers, and he's a little guy. I think he's about my height. Is that about 175, 174 centimeters? So he's a little guy, and he just manages to, from set pieces, just manages to score good headers. So and important goals too. So it was really pleasing to see him doing that.
Good footballer. I really like him, and I think he had some injury worries, obviously, at the end of last season, and I sort of felt like that sort of ran into this season as well. And Curtis Jones has had a good season as well this year, so
yes.
So he's had a lot more playing time in that sort of six with a bit of adventure sort of role that McAllister has played in. Now Liverpool finish in 3rd in the Champions League table, and even though the Premier League has been one big struggle this season, we have shown a lot of class in Europe, and we are obviously one of the European elite, and we will go through into the next round of the Champions League. Is there a particular team that we could play that you'd be concerned about? I know that namely Atletico Madrid are in there, and so are Galatasaray.
Juve as well. I know Juventus aren't Juventus of old, but they're still a dangerous side. And Bruges, God, we've got history of Bruges in Europe. Good history actually. But I mean, we're always going to face a team from Madrid, aren't we? So yeah, I'd like to avoid Atletico. Galatasaray. Did we play? We played them, didn't we? No. We did.
Yeah,
we did.
Yeah,
we lost 1-0,
didn't they?
That dodgy penalty. So, look, in saying all that, across two legs, I'll back us against anyone. And I know, we had one really bad disaster in Europe, which was that game against PSV, but that was more like our league form. But on the whole, we haven't really played like that in Europe. We've been playing with a lot more confidence. I think Max, our good old friend Max, kind of said it well. It's amazing how we play when teams come to play us, not rather park the bus, or the low block. So to be honest, Atletico or Juve, I'd like to potentially avoid them, but I fear no one in Europe, to be honest. So we shouldn't either. So I think they should be more afraid of us. So yeah, we'll see. It's an interesting system. I'm still trying to get my head around it. And I know the Arsenal fans are happy they've won all their games. It was 8 games, they've won 8. But it showed last season that's not always, finishing first is not always good. So a lot can happen. So yeah, we're going to win it. We're going to win it all.
Well, I like the optimism, my man. I like the optimism. I did back Liverpool to win the Champions League myself this season, so
Good man.
we'll see. You know what I mean? Might pay for me shocks for Jack's wedding, which is it's proven to be an expensive venture as a best man. So look, Liverpool are through in the Champions League, and we prove once again that we are very much part of the European elite. And it was a game we needed to win. We did win it, and I'm just hoping that we get a bit of bounce back from these recent results, because the atmosphere in the Champions League sounded really poor on the TV. And look, the TV isn't always accurate. I get that, but there was a bit of a sense when I was watching the game. I was like, oh, the crowd don't quite feel with them tonight. But they got the win, and that's the most important thing. So Liverpool go on, and we will, of course, follow the European adventure, hopefully all the way to Budapest.
Exactly. I'm trying to remember where the draw is.
I think it's in February, isn't it?
Yeah. Because
obviously it's February now, isn't it?
Yeah. So we'll need to see who faces who, and then anyway, that's for another time. Bring them on.
We'll worry about that later, won't we?
That's right.
Now, this is a game that we started recently. We've always, I think always, or nearly always, done a trivia on Reds Down Under. And recently we've been doing Stoppage Time, which is a quick fire trivia, if you like. So the idea of the game is I give our guests 30 seconds and I ask them a question, and they've got to answer the question in 30 seconds. So normally it's like, name as many of this, name as many of that. So me and you are going to play today, Wayne. I've got a question for you. Right? So I'll put 30 seconds on the clock. Ding! I'll do that in post. I will put 30 seconds on the clock when I work out how to do it. All right, I've got it. And the question is, now you need to do these in order.
Okay.
Name the players numbered 1 to 11 in the current Liverpool team.
Okay,
Start the clock now.
Ali.
Alisson 1.
His number 2, is it Joe Gomez?
Joe Gomez.
Number 3 is God. Oh my God, I've just gone blank. Fudge.
No, it's not Nick Fudge.
No, it's hang on, number 3 is no Kirk.
3 seconds.
I bollocksed it up.
Time's up, man. Time's up.
Oh man, that's shocking.
Well, all right.
Hang on, can I go through some of the others? Hang on, because number 4.
Go on.
Number 4 is Verge. All right. Number 5 is is Ibu number 5?
Yeah, Ibu number 5.
6 is Kirkes. 7 is Wirtz.
Yeah.
8 is Sabozlai. 9 is Ekatike. Yeah. No. Hang on. No, wait a second. Who's on number 9?
9 is Isaac.
Yes. Isak, sorry. Number 10 is McAllister. 11 is Mo.
Yes.
Yeah. Shocking. Like, man. So who's number 3? Hang on. This is going to do my head in.
He's our Japanese boy. It's...
Oh, my God. I knew it was a midfielder and I just couldn't think who.
You know what, though? I made it a bit harder today because I made you do it in order as well. You know what I mean? Because people just throw names in, don't they?
It's all right. It's okay. I'll get there. Do you know, there was a time when I literally would know every single squad number of every player, inside out, even the reserves, all that. Now I'm just brain dead and old and don't remember shit.
I know, but then you fell in love and everything went all right for you, so don't worry about it.
Yep. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, true. All right.
Well, that was stoppage time. I guess the question to our people at home or wherever you're watching this podcast is, how many did you get and where did you get up to? Will be the question. Right, let's talk about Newcastle in the Premier League. A game that I was really excited for. We featured it on Countdown to Kickoff with Harry last week. And it was a game I was concerned about. I said that Liverpool have to score first if we're going to win the game. Newcastle United score first. It was Postman Pat, a.k.a. Anthony Gordon.
The rat.
He loves score. You know what? You say that, I'd love him at Liverpool. I really would.
I know.
I really would.
I know. If he came to Liverpool, I'd love him too, but I'd love to punch him before he comes to Liverpool. That's anyway. That's all right.
Why choose violence? Let's choose love, right? So Anthony Gordon scores, doesn't he? And Wayne, he played the number 9 for Newcastle. He played in the central role, and Harry and I were talking last week. Who would Eddie Howe go with, Voldemade or Visser up front? And I said Visser. I think Visser. And Eddie Howe completely threw a spanner in the works with Anthony Gordon. But the big surprise in the game for me, from a Newcastle perspective, was there was no low block. They had a high line throughout the whole game, and they really had a crack at us, mate, didn't they?
Absolutely. I mean, Barnes almost scored in the 12th minute with that free kick? I think it might have been around then. That could have gone in. And, when Gordon scored, I had no complaints. They'd had about, 8 or 9, 10 corners by then. They were dominating us. And I was worried because we were slow, lack of tempo. And I go, here we go again. Another Euro hangover. Just reminded me of Bournemouth a little bit again in some respects. And yeah, Gordon was giving us a lot of grief. And they were getting a lot of joy out wide too. So yeah, it was troubling. Very troubling to watch.
Well, their lead didn't last too long, did it? And I think it's time for the doubters to disappear, because it's time to go with the flow. Because Florian Wirtz, mate, is that, there's a handful of footballers that I've seen in a Liverpool shirt which can do unbelievable things with a football at any time in a game. And I think about the sort of skillful players like Coutinho and Suarez and Bobby Firmino. I'd probably throw in there as well for just sheer amounts of skill.
Yep.
And Florian Wirtz is right on that list, isn't he?
He is. He is. Some stats for him, actually. He's the form player in Europe right now. So he's 4 goals and 2 assists in his last 10 games since the beginning of the year. And I think, if I'm correct, he's been involved in more goal involvements in the league than any other player since well into like last year as well. So you're starting to now see why this guy was so highly rated. I read somewhere also that apparently he's put on about 4 kilos of muscle and weight and meat. So, people were a little bit worried he's a little bit lightweight, but he's been working on that. But he was electric. And what was really pleasing is that as soon as we went a goal down, you just saw us. We pushed higher. We started pressing higher up the pitch. Our tempo increased, and we had an instant response, and that they couldn't cope with it. And and Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike, they've got this understanding already there, and we know what it looks like. We're going to compare them to his two players, but we'll go into that a bit later. But no, Wirtz, he's been brilliant. He's got lightning fast feet. He's just so good in those tight spaces, and he's just his ability just to like wiggle out and just put in a pass where you think, God, how did he do that? Why would he do that? Most players wouldn't even think about that. He doesn't have the flashiness of, say, like a Bobby Firmino. He's not that kind of, flair, but it's a different kind of technical brilliance about him, which I just love. He's running games now at times. So, yeah, watch out, rest of the Premier League. We've got a bit of a monster on our hands. So, yeah, bring it on.
Well, the flair that he sort of has is that of like a Mercedes F1 car, because it's just, what's the word I'd like to use?
Precision.
It's precision. That's exactly it. He's like he's been engineered in the perfect sort of way,
Yes.
and that assist he got for the first Ekitike goal. Now, I'm not saying he hasn't got the plaudits for it. I think everyone has been singing Flo's praises this week, but Ekitike gets a lot of the praise because he's got 2 goals on the score sheet there, and rightfully so. But that first assist that Flo gives to him, and in these really tight games, in these tight moments, that ability to drop a shoulder and beat a player is so hard. It's so hard to come by, and the finishing touch was there as well.
It's beautiful. That goal, can I just also speak? It wasn't just the fact that he wiggled through a couple of defenders. That whole penalty box was packed. There was probably at least probably 6 or 7, Newcastle players there, and a few Liverpool players as well. So he's at full speed, wiggling through, and then he manages to basically cut it back and put it literally on a plate for Ekitike. And Ekitike's finish was beautiful. But yeah, like, stunning. The guy's just, he's doing it now, and he's shutting a lot of people up, which is great.
Well, you know what? Like, I haven't had a poster of a Liverpool player on my wall for some 20 odd years now. But if I was to get one, it'd definitely be Flo Wirtz, mate. He's absolutely gorgeous, but not in the way you're thinking. He's just beautiful. Like, hang his feet up in the Louvre, because this guy has absolutely got it, for sure.
Yep.
Ekitike, who you mentioned, mate, he's had 20 goals / assists in all competitions this season. We signed
Impressive.
2 big number 9s for the season ahead. Obviously, one of them's, he's been injured, he played, and fitness and stuff, and I'm sure Isak will come back and be a top player at Liverpool Football Club. But Ekitike, for me, he looks like one of the top 5 centre forwards in the world at the moment, mate. And I'm just so glad that he's ours.
He's flying, isn't he? And look, everyone's saying, even Steven Gerrard said it to his face in the interview. You remind me of Fernando Torres, and he does. He's just a very powerful in the sense that he's just very direct, but he's so skillful. And he's just got such the ability not to just beat his man, but just put in a finish. I mean, that toe poke was just outrageous. It was. What else can I say? The guy's on fire, And even his goals against Qarabag, which one was it? Or am I getting no, I'm getting confused. Or am I? Yes, he scored 2 against... No, hang on. I'm getting confused here. Gonna have to edit this bit out. The second one.
No, we're not throwing that out. We're leaving that in.
No, it was Qarabag, wasn't it? The second one where he basically was on the halfway line, controlled the ball, beat the first player, then got it around the second player. It's just...
So Torres.
It is, and it was. Yeah. It was just like, you could see the defender chasing him. He just gave up. Said, forget it, that's going in the back of the net. So he is, for me, probably the informed striker in the world right now, and he's ours. And it's like you said, we've got Isak, although he's injured, coming in the wings. It's a pretty scary attacking, kind of lineup we have there. And I do believe those two can play together. I think Ekitike has the ability to probably play out wide a little bit, if need be, or even maybe drop a little bit deeper because he's got that ability about him. He's sensational. I like it. He's very humble. He came out with comments, when the press were asking what's it like, how close was he signing to Newcastle, and he said, he says, look, there was talk, but he said Liverpool was the one he wanted, and his mind was made up, and he didn't care what their fans, Newcastle fans, think of him. He only cares about us, and what a signing. He's been a revelation. So it's brilliant. Very happy for him.
He is brilliant, and I tell you what, you say that he's a modest lad, but a little bit of shit-arsery from him with the Newcastle fans was great to see. I absolutely loved it. I absolutely love all that. Liverpool were fantastic. Little shout out to the ball boy who gave Alisson Becker the ball quickly, who gave the ball quickly to Kirkes, who quickly found Ekitike, who again showed that sort of Torres-esque gliding through the left-hand side and putting the ball in the goal. And talking of Ekitike, you were talking about that Qarabag goal where he just got away from the defenders. So I watched the game, and Chelsea came in. She was making a coffee in the morning before work, and I said, "Can I show you this goal?" And it felt like I was on Monday Night Football. I paused it and I was like, "Right, watch this. Watch the first touch is huge, right? He wins the first ball." I said, and the second touch is because he knows the other player's coming, and he completely takes the player out the game. And Chelsea was like, "Oh, that's a good goal," and I was like, nice one.
I do need to mention this, that firstly, I was very impressed with Newcastle, how they came out, and I think they were obviously on a high after getting that point in Paris against PSG in Europe. They've been terrible away from home for most of the season. I think they've won 3 and 14. They were missing Gourmadish, Joelinton, Livramento, and Botman was on the bench, but he didn't even play. And that was the other thing too. I was surprised with Eddie Howe's lineup. I thought, especially up front, and certain players that he subbed on to, I thought it was strange, but they were good. But I think second half you could tell. I think after we scored those 2 quick fire goals, it just deflated them completely. And they couldn't respond because I think they were just also knackered too. They just couldn't keep the pace with us. It's not to say they didn't cause us problems, but, when you consider those first 35 minutes, they had us on the ropes. But, if you look at the XG stats, I think theirs at the end of the game was 0.33 and ours was 1.95. So, I know Eddie Howe said that scoreline flattered us, but I disagree. I think actually it was a fair result. And that second half kind of set the standard, I guess, what I want to see from us more. You can only, I guess, be the team that's in front of you. But I thought we controlled that game. We were really smart, and we just dominated them really in that second half at the end. And continue. I was going to say, I know what you're going to speak about, but the person who scored the 4th goal, we should mention that because that was quite a beautiful moment.
It was a beautiful moment, and everyone who's got a podcast or a content creator or anyone, whether you're a TV pundit or radio, whatever, everyone's had a chat about Konate this season, and we definitely have.
Mm-hmm.
I said last week, when he was away, I'm looking forward to getting Ibu back in the team, and hopefully he's back to play Newcastle. He does come back. His performance, Wayne, was was top class. Top class, considering the guy's just lost his dad, and we all know what it's like to lose someone, and to for that to happen, and then to be go and play in a football stadium where, you know, it's just emotion after emotion, non-stop. He was solid as a rock, and he gets the goal, and I swear to God, like, if there's a Liverpool fan out there with at least not the smallest little tear in their eye, I'd be surprised, because it was an absolutely beautiful moment, mate.
It was nice. And I think I kind of got really teary when Alisson ran up to him, because I thought Ali knows exactly what that's like to be in that situation and score a goal. A nice moment. And, you know, it was nice in the post-match interviews, you know, they were speaking to Konate, and he said, look, you know, Arne basically said, you take as much time as you need off, but he knew we had an injury crisis, and he said, no, I need to go back. I need to go do my job. And look, regardless what happens at the end of the season with his contract, I felt that was, you know, really professional of him, but also just shows he does love the club. And he's copped a lot of criticism, some fair, some unfair. I've given it to him, I'll be honest. But I think some of that's been warranted. But he has been good lately. He really has been. And he actually, for me, was my man of the match in that. I know everyone will point to Wirtz or, you know, Ekatike and their goals, but Konate was just brilliant. He was just snuffing things out. And second half, he was just bossing, what's his name, Elanga and Barnes as well. And I think, I'm trying to remember the other left back, was it Hall? I can't remember who. He was just basically just snuffing everything out. And I said, that's the Ubu I know. So, you know, good on him. And yeah, beautiful moment. Nice for him and his family. So, and that's what this club's all about.
That's what it's all about. And I don't read too much into these things, but, you know, he did the celebration. Ali came up, and then he sort of turned back towards the cop, and he smacked his fist up against the liver bird on his chest. And, you know, it's just a little reminder for us, I think, that he's our player, and
It's true.
And he's done a lot for us, you know what I mean?
It has.
Yeah.
Do you know, just very quickly, one last thing, that game's very important, because it's actually our first win in 5 in the league, and we needed to, because Chelsea are winning now. The Manx are actually winning, so that battle for top 4 is really heating up. So, yeah.
Who did you say? Chelsea and who?
The Manx.
Who's the Manx?
Not
Who
City.
the fuck are Man United? No, you're right. You're right.
It's scary to think, but, you know, it's we needed to get that, and I want us to build on from this now. So it's proof that we can win in Europe well, and we can back it up in the league. Even, you know, a slightly depleted Newcastle are a tough team. So it was good. And, you know, and Anfield was great. The crowd was hot. They were fantastic. They were buzzing, once we equalised, obviously. But it was good. It was good to see the cop like that.
It was a great atmosphere, and it often is against Newcastle. And my last point on this game is that we defended well throughout the game. We defended 11 corners. Which against Newcastle is no mean feat. You got Big Dan Burn up there, who's like three players, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Yes.
And in other games that we've played, we haven't shown the leadership, and it's like our defenders were made of sand. You know, we were underneath the ball, we collapse into ourselves, but there was leadership on the pitch, and the players out there stood up and were strong, and we've scored 10 goals in 2 games, which feels bonkers.
That's true. And one very important stat too, Mo Salah broke another record in that game. So the single player who has scored the most goals and assists against one team. So I think it's 10 plus goals and 10 plus... No, hang on. I've got it here written somewhere. Yes, 10 plus goals and 10 plus assists versus Newcastle. So Mo Salah, once again, has broken yet another record.
He's amazing.
And what he might... He's a freak. Absolute freak.
He's amazing, and I'm glad to have him back. So look, the goals have finally arrived, and it's a little bit like a Jetstar flight, isn't it? Like we've been waiting for it for the bloody hours. I was in Coolangatta Airport, and our Jetstar flight got delayed all day, and they just kept telling it was another hour, and then in the end we had to stay overnight. It was an absolute joke. So if there's anyone from Jetstar out there, sponsor the podcast, will you?
Yes.
Sponsorship opportunities available at Reds Down Under. There might be more on that soon.
Jetstar, when you have to get there eventually.
Yeah, when you have to get there next week. So that was Liverpool Newcastle, and what a win it was for Liverpool, and much needed, because as Wayne says, Chelsea and Manchester United have sort of came back into the equation a little bit more, haven't they? We're going to take a really short break. When we come back, we're going to look a quick look at the fantasy football table. I haven't forgotten about it. The winner of the fantasy football table will get a Reds Down Under goodie bag with sellotape, a stapler, and this remote. So, no, I don't know what it's going to be yet. It's probably a t-shirt, a cap, and some good stuff. You know what I mean, Wayne? Throw some good stuff in there.
And dinner with Jack.
And dinner with Jack, if you're in Sydney, or if you're in Adelaide, I'll still send Jack. Send him wherever he needs to be. He's in Albury at the minute, the kid. He's in Albury at the minute. And I can't say this, but I am going to tease it. There's some very big news regarding Jack coming very, very soon. Very soon. But I can't reveal it because there's contractual obligations against it. And we also have a really big collab coming up very soon with some people who you definitely know.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
So keep your eye out for that. Right, we're going to have a quick break so I can go to the loo and Wayne can get a Zimmer frame. And when we come back, we'll look at the fantasy football. We'll jump right into transfers because Wayne runs the L files and he's across all of this sort of stuff. And we'll briefly look at City. We won't delve into City too much because Countdown to Kickoff will be released as a mini pod for the first time next week with young Harry. And we'll be breaking down the City game in a lot of detail. Right, we'll be back in a sec. Right, Reds, wherever you are, whether you're in Australia or beyond, we had a fantasy football league, which is obviously still going because the league's still going. Reds Down Under Podcast League is live. And, well, let's start with me first. I called myself Return of the King because in Chelsea's dad's group that I was in last year, I won the league. So I called myself Return of the King to wind them all up. But I didn't realise it would also be my name in this group. I'm struggling at the moment. I'm 37th out of 46. Not doing well at all. But I am just behind my mate Josh Culkin. So I'm hoping I can overlap him at least. Triple. Are you clicking something?
Sorry, man. I'm setting the lights. Getting a little bit dark in here. It's like
It's like a chicken time bomb. Rodney is bottom of the league at the moment. He's going tough at the moment. But don't worry, there's time left. And our mate Big Rig is second bottom. But let's look at the top of the league. In third place is Nick Dunphy with Anfield FC, currently on 13.66. Like a Virgil, our mate Matt Purchase back in Liverpool, he's on 14.04. And then Ligma FC, Daniel, is on 14.44 at the top of the leaderboard.
That's tight at the top.
It's tight at the top. So they're going well. I reckon realistically, it might be. Oh, and then you've got Atletico Big Wave. James Johnson is on 13.64 in fourth place. So one of them four can win it, but Ligma has to really start falling away for them to come into the conversation. Apparently, Ligma only wins because of set pieces as well, so might change his name to Gooners next season. So that's the Fantasy Football League. We will come back to it more because I didn't realise how long it had been since I'd mentioned it. I wanted to sort of mention it at least like a couple of times a month, and I must have forgot because maybe I was doing bad. But Josh mentions it to me. You haven't mentioned the Fantasy Football League, so there you go. Let's talk transfers, mate.
Quiet,
Oh, God. Quiet until the last 24 hours.
Or even before that, too. I mean,
Yeah.
where do we start? Let's start with the bad or the crazy. Like, obviously, there was the Robbo saga, which you guys have kind of covered in the previous episode. That looks like it's kind of all settled now. He's going nowhere, which is great. Then there was the Jones one, which kind of bamboozled us all. But apparently, Joycey said, nothing in it. Then I'm hearing other things that apparently, Curtis Jones was keen to go on this loan situation into Milan as well. And apparently he had a falling out with Slot. So who knows? But look, is it a case of where there's smoke, there's fire? I cannot see Curtis Jones wanting to leave Liverpool ever unless the situation has become that desperate. And I don't think it has. I mean, this is a guy that wants to probably become future captain one day. And I'd hate to see him go because I think he's been, I'll be honest, always been a bit of a fan of his, and ever since in his youth days. But he's come on leaps and bounds, and he's an integral part to the team. And it's good to have a Scouser in the team too.
It's always good to have a Scouser in the team, and my mate messaged me. He's a United fan, and he said to me, if you lose the Scouser in the team, do you sort of lose the identity of the team? And I said no, I don't think it's essential to have a Scouser in the team, but it would always be a preference. It would always be a preference, and especially a lad like Curtis Jones that represents, not just in the way he talks about the club, but the way he plays football. I think represents the football club a lot. So look, I'm glad he's staying. Although we're recording this on Monday, and the transfer window is still open for a couple of hours. So there is the slight possibility of the odd thing is shaking, isn't there?
Might need to record another version of this then.
yeah, mate. Like, if I wake up in the morning and I found out that something's happened, I might update this episode. One that looked like it might happen was Dumfries from Inter. It looks like that deal got blocked off, and
correct.
I wasn't surprised that we didn't sign the player in the end. He looks like a good footballer, and I think he was a really important player for Inter in the Champions League last season as they reached the final. He's an attacking wing back, right wing back, and my only thought with that was that I think when Frimpong and Bradley come back in, I think the manager's quite happy with those options.
Correct.
So I was surprised, actually. I was surprised with how much gusto those sort of talks had. And who knows if the manager might reapproach it again in the summer if maybe Bradley, you feel, would be the one of the two who would make way. Frimpong's been excellent, hasn't he?
He has been. And there was the other one too, the Dutch international at Sunderland on loan from Leipzig. Gertruda. I think forgive me if I've pronounced that wrong.
Well, we do have listeners in the Netherlands. We do have the official supporters club. So a while ago, I called it the Arida Visa, and they messaged me to say it was close, but it wasn't right. so they might.
Is it Eredivisie? No.
I don't know.
Pronounce it?
Well, our friends in the Netherlands, you let us know whether we're right or wrong. But yeah,
one of my good friends is Dutch. Jerry, he's like he's not a lot older than me. Jerry, he's a massive, like, born and bred Amsterdam boy, big Ajax fan. So I'll ask him how to pronounce it. So
I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Because you said Ajax there and I say Ajax. So who knows what the pronunciations are? But as long as we're trying is the important thing. But
That's
yet
right.
your mate Gertrude, mate, that one came out of absolutely nowhere. I'll be honest,
and
I never heard of the player before.
No, neither have I, but apparently he's been really good for Sunderland, and he's on loan from Leipzig. Now, apparently there was this whole kind of, a few things need to happen for that, like other players need to become available or certain loans need to be recalled for him to then be able to come to us. And apparently there was no chance of that happening. It was just too complicated. So, which is a shame, because apparently he might have been a very handy kind of signing, even though I know absolutely jack about him. But he's a Dutch international, so... seems to be building that kind of Dutch connection, but that one's fallen through. But shall we mention the big one that looks like it's definitely a done deal?
Go for it.
Now I'm going to try and pronounce this. Is it Jeremy Jacquet? Jacquet? Do you have any French listeners? Please correct us on that one, hey? But £55 million deal from Rennes. I think I said that right, in France. He's an under-21 French international centre-back, but can play right-back as well. So very promising, very highly rated. Obviously, unfortunately, won't come to us until June. So he's one for next season. But these are the type of players that, definitely looking to bolster the squad. So I think that defensive rebuild is very much in process. We've got Leone as well to come back, so there's some good two young, centre backs there to look at, but we definitely need reinforcements now. Still,
We definitely need reinforcements, and that's something Big Rig says. He says, we need a centre back. We're going for the top 4 fight, and we're a bit thin on the ground at centre back, which is spot on. What else have we got here? Corey talks about your new mate, the French lad, which I won't try and pronunciate, but he says he looks like a great signing. Really wish we could have signed Gertrude in January, though, I think, to get us through this period, and I think that's spot on. And Harry Mack was disappointed not to see the Dumfries one go through, because he has been a player sort of, I think, linked for a while, hasn't he? And I think he's a player that we like the look of, don't we?
Yeah. When does the window closes? When exactly?
As the time of recording, in about 6 hours, I think.
Okay, we might get another surprise. You never know. Maybe cheeky loan for someone. Who knows?
Well, apparently Liverpool are interested in Manchester City's Mark Gahey, so we'll see. We'll see if that one comes to fruition, won't we?
Yes. Yeah. Let's see how that goes. Exactly.
There's normally a move or a shake, isn't there? There's normally a little something that pops up, and maybe Liverpool will go out and get Ozanka back, and he can play another second half of the season for Liverpool, because he had arguably the best Liverpool song ever. If you haven't heard the Ozanka back song, give it a Google. It's on YouTube. Yep. There's a guy playing the keyboard. It was like the best Liverpool song ever, and what a shame he left, because it was a good one to have hold of. That's the only reason we kept Chiesa, I think, is because of his song. So they're the transfers.
We should get him on the show.
Yeah. It's been a disappointing transfer window, wasn't it? Because I think we were all hoping Liverpool would maybe go and get an attacking sort of option for up the field, and a centre back was seen as essential. Liverpool haven't done that, so I don't know.
You did ask me a couple of episodes ago what I was expecting from this window, if we're going to sign anyone, and I said I don't think so, because I said I felt we broke the norm in the earlier window when we literally spunked almost £500 million on players. We did recruit quite a lot, mind you, but I just felt I wasn't expecting any real movement this window, maybe more opportunist loans or a signing here or there. So I suspect, well, from my perspective, getting this Jacquet, or Jeremy, I'm going to call him Jeremy, it's easier, is a bonus for me. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we get in a cheeky loan from someone somewhere. So it would be nice if actually he did come on against So Qarabag, Neoni, I want to see that young player get more game time that potentially I suspect he will now and then. Maybe Slot might use the likes of Gravenbach or something more at centre-back as need be. So not ideal, but it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is what it is. I'd like to see Naoni. I think it was great to see Dallo, coming on
Yes.
against,
No, you're right.
against
Nallo.
Qarabag, and he's obviously a player that the club think highly of. I think he got 2 red cards in his last 2 previous performances, so he's already improved greatly with the.
He didn't get a booking. Good lad.
No, I think he only touched the ball 3 times, but he looked assured. So it was good to see him on the pitch. And something that I wanted to talk about today, mate, is the criticism that people have for the team, the club, the ownership. I think is this a new thing? It feels like it's going too far in places. It feels like it's a bit too personal, and people are forgetting that it's football, and it's because I get why people get upset, because so much about what happens with the football club directly affects how we feel all day and all week. But are we crossing the line? Are people crossing the line, mate?
Yeah. I mean, look, I personally, even though from experience, I feel that type of criticism has always been there. When it gets personal, but back when I was younger, or maybe when you were younger, pre-internet, it was those are the conversations you had with mates, or at a pub when you were venting, and that's where it went. Never left there. These days, you've got, I guess, things like social media out there where it's like a powder keg, and things just go out there and they just go ballistic. And I think what happens is that we are an emotional club. We always have been, and people get fired up, and now they've got the ability to vent a lot of those thoughts, or in the past just in private to their friends, or on the phone, or at the pub, or in the ground, just to their mate next to them. You can basically hit tens of thousands of people with one message. And that's not me justifying it all, because I've always said that it's okay to be critical, and I think some of the criticism, professional criticism aimed at Slot in particular in certain players, has been fair and justified in most part. But then when I see things like bold fraud, or calling him "I'll see you next Tuesday," it kind of like, what the hell, and even if Arne Slot didn't win a Premier League title for us last season, he's still our manager. It's not like he's purposely going out there to ruin your day or hates us. And I guess the thing that gets my goat too is, and I'll be honest in saying this, the only manager that I really could never stand was Roy Hodgson, right? And I felt that was justified, because I felt he was very condescending towards his fans. He didn't get us. And I don't see that with Arne Slot. And you see now also people are over-analysing his press conferences, taking this and saying, he meant that. They're just over-analysing things, and it's just, it's not healthy. So coming back to your original question, I feel it has gotten a lot more, and I think it's amplified. It's not good. It's not good. And when you try and defend him, you get called, you're just a sheep, you're a FSG shill, or you just basically got the blind faith. No, it's not about that. It's about being respectful, because he does deserve our respect. And me, I've been critical of him. Obviously, a few weeks ago, I was dead certain that I wanted him gone and out. That decision now is kind of, I'm on the fence now, because things seem to be improving. And I've obviously also said that I'd rather he turn it around and shut me up gladly, because I'll be more than happy with that. Because, when the Reds win, we all win. But it's there's some really just. I also feel too, Tom, that a lot of people out there on social media, want the attention. They'll say stuff in the extreme just to get the clicks and get the likes and want the attention. And trouble is, some people just take it, hook, line, and sinker and run with it. And it's not cool. I mean, we saw it for years with certain players getting lots and lots of stick, making it very personal. So, I just want to say, if you're listening, just grow the hell up. Seriously, act like an adult and be critical, but God, far out. It's not like, Anna Schlotz kidnapped your daughter or killed, burnt down your house. It's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, there's definitely no proof that Arnie Slaughter ever kidnapped anyone.
No.
But yeah, no. Look, it's been something that's been on my mind for a couple of weeks, and we were talking about it obviously before the podcast. We were talking about what we wanted to talk about this week, and Wayno mentioned it, and I think social media is social media, and I get it. People will go out there and say whatever they want to, but a lot of the things that I've been reading, if you were stood on the cop and you said those things, you get told to shut the fuck up. They wouldn't have it. They wouldn't have it, and I think, it's just a case that we all have to consider. We all have to consider the way that we talk about our players and our football club, and even myself. I went in pretty heavy on Van Dijk last week. And I had a little reflective moment, and I listened to it back, and I was like, was I a bit too much on Van Dijk there? And I don't think it was. I think he was fucking useless against Bournemouth. But, look, I just think it's something that we've got to be careful of. It's became normalised, but because it's became normalised, there's no reason that we can't move away from that. And I think everyone should have their opinion, and that's what we do on this podcast. We try and give people an opinion and read their opinions out on the podcast, but yeah, let's just make sure it doesn't go too far.
That's right.
But also, I would like to take a moment to thank Wayne and the L Files, Liverpool Australia. They've been massive supporters of the podcast from early days. Wayne came on as a guest, and he was like, I love what you guys are doing, and I'm going to put you on my website if you fancy it. And I was like, yeah, I would love it. So tell me a little bit about your website, mate.
Oh, I'm blushing right now. I just want to say, firstly, that I knew a good thing when I saw it, so that's why I wanted to back it. And, Tom, Jack, and Max as well. All great guys. And Harry now as well. So it's hard not to want to get involved with it. The L Files. So now in its, what is it now? 28th year. So there you go. So started in 1998. It's Australia's longest running Liverpool FC fan portal at liverpoolaustralia.com.au. So it's got all the latest news from all the sources that you can trust, to the good ones, about LFC. There's a lot of stuff on local supporter groups and where to find them here in Australia, and we're also updating it now with venues as well, where to go. Obviously, you can find the podcast on there as well, apart from the other channels that we're also on. And you can buy LFC merch as well, or you can book an experience if you were visiting Anfield. There's lots of cool things there. Have a look, because sometimes you get special discounts as well. We're working very hard behind the scenes with the club on that, actually, so stay tuned. But yeah, give us a follow and visit the site, and the news is updated every 3 minutes. And once again, while you're there, listen to the podcast, and be sure to give them a follow and like and subscribe as well.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Also, we've got Fields of Anfield Road site. That's FOAR site.com, which is an American-based site. And what they do is they allow different people who write different football blogs and obviously he checks them, makes sure that they're all right, and he publishes them on his site, and they are really interesting. I've been reading them every week since we've had a little collab, so check them out, and our podcast again is available on that website. So if you have found us through that website, give us a shout, let us know, and I'll make sure I give them the feedback and let them know. And then we've got Ka-Fey in Newcastle. Great little spot to watch the footy if you're in the Newcastle area. They've been lovely with us. I've only had about 5 cups of coffee in Newcastle, so this might not mean anything, but it was the best cup of coffee I had in Newcastle. And I am quite snobby about my coffee, actually. I am. I can't drink instant. Don't give me that. Don't give me that. All right?
All right.
I've got a decent job now. I can afford better than instant coffee. That's the way I'm thinking about
That's it. That's it.
And also, of course, our friends at Cheers Bar, Vanessa and the whole crew. All our posters are up in Cheers Bar and everything. And if you go there on a match day, you will see them. And there's a fair chance that you will see us. And we're actually chatting with those guys about doing a collab. So if you're Sydney based or in the area, keep an eye on that, because it might just be worth you coming down. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Wayno, let's talk about the Manchester City game coming up next week. We're going to have a proper countdown to kick off with Harry next week. But I think, mate, Manchester City are not the Man City of old. I think we can go and win this football match.
I agree. I was really surprised that they they let that lead slip against Spurs, but because I really thought, man, they're going to kick on, but they've been so hot and cold. I think we can win, and God, we owe them too after what they did to us in the last game at the Etihad. So, man, we beat them. I think we're 2 points off second or spot. No, I can't remember how many. We're pretty close to like in that top 4. I can't wait. I hate them. I hate them a lot. They cost us a few titles because of their underhanded dealings, but that's another story. No, we should be bouncing for that game, and I think at home, as I said, I'll back us. But you can't discount them. They have been leaky at the back, but they've been scoring goals as well. So, but we seem to be scoring goals now. So it's going to be a case of the current best striker in Europe as form versus the robot who just is scoring goals in his sleep. So big game, and possibly Pep Guardiola's last game at Anfield too, if the rumours are true, that he's leaving at the end of the season. So we'll see. And, be interesting to see the reception that Gay gets. Not that it was his fault, but I'll be curious to see.
I think he'll get a gentle boo, won't he? I think he'll get a gentle boo, but I hope Ekatike absolutely tears a strip off him, to be honest with you, mate. That's what I absolutely hope happens.
About this. Very quick question. And someone's kind of hinted at this, that look, let's be honest, we don't want Arsenal to win the title, all right? We don't want anyone to win the title apart from us. But I've heard some people say it, I read it too, and you know where I'm going with this, that we beat City, then it's the title race done and dusted. And I had a little thought about that, and I thought, yeah, it's true, isn't it? But I thought, you know what, we've got to look after ourselves. So we come first, so who cares about the title? Let's just pump them and win the European Cup.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's like it's Liverpool or no one. Like, you know what I mean? I'd rather Man United not win the league. You know what I mean? But I was thinking about this. It's funny you say this because I was driving yesterday, and I was thinking, if it came down to the final day, and I was watching it, and City and Arsenal were like level on points or whatever, and one team could win the league, who would I want to win the league? And it was really funny because I was sitting there and I thought to myself, City. And I can't
no one
believe...
cares.
I
No one
can't
cares
believe
about him.
I can't I can't believe I thought it, but it's just Arsenal just do me head in. I don't know who they think they are.
They
I
do
don't-
my head in too.
Honestly, they're just, you know what I mean?
Remember,
They're like,
do you remember? Yeah, do you remember what we said midweek in the prediction? And when we were talking about Europe, we said we'll probably meet them in Europe. I hope we
Yeah.
do, and I hope we knock them out. I'd love that. I'd absolutely love that.
we could do them in Europe. We could do anyone in Europe. That's what I think, mate.
That's right.
That's what I think. As long as we don't play Bournemouth, we'll be all right. So, so go on quickly, very quickly. Give us a prediction.
Manchester City. I'm going 3-2.
3-2 to Liverpool, obviously. I'm gonna
Yep.
give my prediction on countdown to kick off next week
All right.
because Harry talks a lot of sense and he might convince me to go one way or another. So, countdown to kick off is our new mini podcast, which is designed to be
Yes.
watched on a match day. The idea is that the coverage from Stan is really good, but there's no punditry, and if there is, it's Mark Bosnich, who's an absolute wet wipe. So Mark Bosnich out there.
Former Mank. What do you expect?
Well, yeah. No comment on that. But yeah. So the idea is we're gonna put it out on the day of the game. It's something for you to, when you get up in the middle of the night at 1:45 for a 2:00 kickoff. Bang! You throw this on. Gives you a little bit of pre-game build-up, a little bit of talk specifically about that football match. So Harry's going to be heading up that one as well, young Harry, and he's 16, this kid. But I tell you what, mate, I've worked.
How good
with,
is he? How good
mate,
is he?
You know what? In my career in TV, I've worked with many great presenters, and this kid's got a good opportunity out there.
He
Like,
blows my mind for a 16-year-old. He's literally a year older than my daughter. And his wisdom and his knowledge of the game and stuff he says, I think, yeah, I didn't think about that. And here I am in, how old am I now? I won't say. But, like, he's got such a, old head on him. He's brilliant. So, if you're listening, remember to watch it. Countdown to Kick Off with young Harry. He's brilliant.
make sure you do watch it. Right, so next week when we come back for the weekly show, we will, of course, talk about that Manchester City result. And we'll talk about pretty much everything that happens in the week with Liverpool Football Club. Wayne, thanks so much for joining us, mate.
Pleasure, man, as always.
Oh, it's always great to have you. And to everyone at home, on the bus, on a flight, wherever you're watching or listening to this, thank you so much for staying with us. This has been the weekly show. We'll see you next week. Up the Reds.
Up the Reds.
Reds, thanks for watching the weekly show, and thanks for sitting and listening to me and me mate Wayne for an hour or so. Coming up next week, we've got Countdown to Kick Off, of course, which will be coming out on the Sunday. So do keep an eye out for that with young Harry, and the weekly show will be back as ever. What I ask for you to do is, when this podcast ends, is to go and message a mate, reach out to someone you haven't spoke to in a while, and just see how they're doing, see if they need anything. Sometimes when you're going through it a little bit, it might be stress at work, it might be different types of pressures. Sometimes when you get a message off a mate, it can make the absolute world of difference. So please do it for us. God bless you. Up the Reds.